Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Thoughts to Think About. I'm Liz.
I'm Reid.
And I'm Johnathan.
And we've got some ballpark thoughts for you to think about today.
Nice.
I told them I was going to start singing, and then I forgot one of the words of take me out to the ball game.
She thought it was a library.
No, maybe. And then I just kind of got a little nervous, and I didn't want to sing anymore.
Nice.
So we're going to talk about off-season
Baseball.
Out of season. I know nothing about out of season, out of service, out of office,
off-season.
Astros.
They just all the Astros have an out of office email reply. It's going right now.
We won. Goodbye. Yeah.
Sorry, the 2022 World Series champs can't come to the email right now. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, take me out of the ball.
I take it back. One of my favorite The Office quotes is when
I appreciate this.
Michael is caught having an affair, right?
Yes.
The person that he's seeing is married, and so Andy is trying to get him to see how wrong it is. So he takes him to watch a high school baseball game where the woman's husband is the coach. And so he makes him have a conversation with him. And so they're just there watching baseball together. And the coach is so dumbfounded. And he's like, oh, are you guys Timmy's dads?
Yeah.
And Andy goes, no, but we are gay for baseball. I send that gif all the time. Yeah.
I think later in the episode, Michael says that he is the mistress in this scenario.
Yes, he is the mistress.
It always makes me laugh. So, I mean, y'all are going to have to take this because I have questions. I do very much, we've talked about this. Out of all the sports, I enjoy baseball the most. But when it's off season, I kind of just look at the players that I like the most, and Kyle Tucker is back.
Because you have posters of them, right, in your room.
No.
Oh,
that's weird.
And it's funny because as much
I'm a 30-year-old woman, okay? I don't have posters.
As much as I love baseball in season and playoff baseball and World Series champs and whatnot, I love off-season baseball because it's very nerdy and numbers-driven and contracts and service time and all the deep cuts that happen in Major League Baseball take place between December and February. And so during this time is when I bust out of the park baseball, and I'm getting in Sport Track Excel sheets. I'm into the numbers, and I'm always looking at that kind of stuff.
Right. By the way, Out of the Park Baseball is a video game that's actually not a video game. It's just an Excel spreadsheet that you play with.
It's a spreadsheet simulator.
Wait.
Out of the Park Baseball is technically a video game.
It's a game.
But it's just numbers and contracts, and you're just trying to be the front office of a baseball club.
You are the front office. You're signing players. You're manipulating service time. You're going through drafts and free agency and real players, real contracts. A lot of front offices, like Major League Baseball front offices, use this in their front office. Not all of them, not all the time, but they use it for certain things, for certain simulations and projections and all kinds of stuff.
It's for super nerds.
Which is me.
You're a nerd?
Huge.
Wow.
You wouldn't have guessed?
No.
Wow.
Not at all.
Really?
No.
You're being sarcastic right now.
Reid, I'm 100% being sarcastic.
My first episode, we talked about The Hobbit for 25 minutes.
But then the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, another nerd friend. Not in a negative way, but you just, come on. Just like how
baseball.
Just like how people are like, oh, you're a coffee drinker. You don't just drink coffee. You're a coffee drinker.
Who? Me?
You, my guy.
Reid, you're a connoisseur of two things: coffee and ice cream.
Okay, I'll
Fair.
accept that.
That's
you're very
the
accurate.
label that you are in my brain. That's how I label you.
This is the box you've been put in.
Wow,
That's not a bad thing. That's just when I think of Reid Belichick. That's when I think of coffee. I'm gonna
condensed
ask
me down to two things.
two things,
Wow. Okay.
and then other things branch off
You've
of
got
it. But that's
baseball
your
and
two
bald.
majors.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let me just sit back and let y'all hash
You better
that
watch
one
out. You're next.
Please, let's talk about
Let's
baseball.
reconvene back to baseball. Yeah,
Let's come back in. So Liz,
Well, he always asks me. I don't know nothing.
but
That's the reason
That's the
why.
reason. Because like I'm pretty sure Reid would have a general response to this that would make sense to the league average.
sure.
The Houston Astros just won the World Series, right?
What?
Crazy, right?
Did you know that?
And obviously, in the world of sports, you are giving players money to play for your team, right? That's an obvious. Where, like, how much money approximately did the Astros hand out in player contracts in 2022? You think? I want the most.
Like, what was their payroll in
What was
2022?
their payroll for their roster? How much money did they spend on their roster last season?
Well, I know because I have employees, so I know my payroll.
That's not
Let
comparable at
me
all.
times that by about a bajillion.
Right.
Okay, let me get a calculator for you.
Just throw a number
I mean,
out.
I don't know. 800 million.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You're way up there. Way too high. Wait.
Correa is over here at like
No, I'm with
oh
you.
yearly.
The
Okay,
yearly
okay.
salary that they spent this past year.
70.
$70 million. Okay.
Way low.
Yeah.
Reid, what would be your estimated guess for the Astros payroll
I'm thinking for 2022.
for 2022?
I'm thinking they're probably between 150 and 200 million.
Okay. So you are obviously a lot closer.
I don't like how you used obviously.
Well,
In that.
Obviously,
because he has a background of the information and whatnot compared to you. And I just really want to see what the baseline for just like a casual baseball fan would look like.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
don't know.
And
It's
so-
a lot of money.
The Astros were 8th in total payroll this
Right.
past season. They spent $183 million on their players.
I was
Okay.
wrong. I did give a big range though, so
Right. The league average was 150 million. Okay. And then the highest from last season were the Dodgers at 270 and then the Mets at 268.
right.
Dang.
And the Phillies were number 3, right?
The Phillies were number 4. It went Dodgers,
Yankees?
Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Padres were your top 5.
Yeah. Do you know how much? I know Johnathan knows. Do you know how much the players made as a bonus for winning the World Series?
Oh, I read this somewhere. I would know it was a lot of money.
Yes.
Was it 500,000?
I think that was the old number. I think it's 550,000 this year. They each got.
I'm very proud that I was close.
Yeah, I mean it's really good.
Which for some of those guys, like the league minimum salary was like it's it's $750,000 I think for the league minimum Major League Baseball salary.
Wow, so they just made
And so, like,
almost
some
what
of
they
those
made in a
guys-
Almost
year.
an extra year.
Like those guys
Wow.
that are in their first 3 years of service time just doubled their salary for
Wow.
winning, which is crazy.
Like who? Were there any starters who were league minimum? Chaz McCormick, was he league minimum?
This is the first year of arbitration so Chaz would have been league minimum probably.
right.
Jose Urquidy would have been a league minimum.
When it Christian.
Javier is league minimum.
Yeah.
And some of those guys are now arbitration years.
Right.
But their service time for their first, up until the new CBA, their first 3 years, they make basically league minimum. And then they get 3 years of arbitration. So you see a giant spike, usually at least doubles their payroll or their amount for them. And then they get, once their 6th year runs out, they become a free agent. So either an extension occurs with that current team that they're on, or they go and test the market and see who's going to pay them to play for them.
Like when Springer left us.
What is the league minimum? You said 750,000?
In years prior, I think last year was 750, but I could be a little off on that. Obviously, I don't have a Major League Baseball contract, so. But yeah, that's kind of the consensus.
What are we even doing here?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know who makes the most per year in the whole league?
No.
I'm not sure I do either. I bet Johnathan knows, but I believe it is Anthony Rendon for the Angels.
Oh, yes.
Is that not correct? He makes like $42 million a year, or he made like $42 million last year,
So
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
stupid money.
and he was hurt like all of last year.
Yeah.
it was really unfortunate because that core for the Angels could be really, really good
If they were all healthy.
They were all
at the same
healthy.
time.
Anthony Rendon was 4.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry. He'll be number 4 going into this year.
Okay.
Last year he was number 3.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. Even better. He was tied for 2.
Okay, I was close.
Who's
close.
number 1?
Number 1 is Max Scherzer. With
Weird.
He signed that mega deal, that
Right.
short, high value with the Mets.
Right.
43 1/3.
Wow.
Then
Wasn't he also hurt most of the year?
He pitched he pitched a little over half of the season, and then I think he went out in the summer for a while, and then he got back before the playoffs started. But it didn't matter come playoff season.
It's expensive, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mets, isn't their owner just like pouring money into it
So
because
the
he
new
really
guy-
wants them?
Yeah, the new guy is a billionaire. Like he has more money than he knows what to do with. And at this point, he promised the fans that he would do everything in his power to bring home a World Series trophy to.
For his
the
grandpa,
Mets.
right? There was like someone. He's like, I want this to happen before they die. Maybe that,
I don't
maybe I
know.
put that
Maybe.
in my brain.
But basically that's been his story since he took over. Is he's brought in as many players as he could. Didn't matter what he was spending per year, and he's trying to build basically his team through the free agent market, through trades at first, because their farm system, they had a couple high level prospects that were probably Major League Baseball ready, but their farm system coming up was middle of the road to average, and so they didn't really have the pieces coming up to become those dudes. So he just went out and signed dudes.
That's nuts.
Scherzer pitched 145.1 innings, which
So
is
a lot of
it's a
season.
decent
Yeah.
amount, yeah. And he was really good in those 145
yeah,
innings.
he was stupid.
So,
The top 3 were Scherzer, Garrett Cole, and Anthony Rendon tied.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for funsies, Mike Trout was number 4.
wow. So the Angels are a team that have been paying a lot of money to be very mediocre.
Yeah, that's
Yikes.
well documented with their pitching woes and injuries, and I mean you got the unicorn of baseball in Shohei Ohtani
And Mike Trout.
and
They're
then-
both unicorns
and
of
then-
baseball.
Yeah, but just the two-way factor that Ohtani
Ohtani's
is
the young unicorn of baseball.
right, and then Trout is probably the greatest player of this generation as far as a fielder batter combo.
Five-tool.
Yeah,
Five-tool player.
five-tool player, 100%.
Yeah, he's having. Do you know how many playoff games Mike Trout has won with the Angels in his
I
career?
absolutely have no idea.
He's won 0.
What?
Do you know how many playoff games he's seen with the Angels?
0?
1.
1?
He's been to 1 playoff with the Angels. It was a wild card game. They lost it.
But he's this amazing player just on a bad team.
He's an amazing player on a terrible team.
How much longer until he's
He's
done?
basically locked up
He's
forever.
he's locked up forever.
Oh,
He
dang.
signed one of baseball, like one of the most recent. He started this mega contract, and he's basically tied up for the rest of his career.
Dang. So he's just like the star boy in a sea of little meeps.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
Wow,
and
that's
Rendon is pretty good.
so-
if he's
but
healthy
he's got tons of Rendon around him, Ohtani,
They did
Taylor
sign
Ward,
Taylor Ward's
Ohtani?
good, yeah.
Again?
For one more year. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
and then Ohtani becomes a free agent,
Mm-hmm.
and who knows what that's going to look like this time next year.
People are estimating. See, this is crazy to me. We've been having this conversation with random people. They're saying Ohtani could be the first player with a $500 million contract. I
The
don't
first
think,
$500 million guy.
Don't think he makes it there. That's ridiculous.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he gets close. Is
That's
the thing.
so much money.
Who is it? Manny
That's so much
Ramirez.
money.
I saw a quote from Manny Ramirez said, "Yeah, he should make $500 million. Pay him $250 million for his bat and $250 million for his arm." It was like,
I mean, like, you could make that argument, like in terms of like where contracts are and the production he has on both sides of the ball. Like, you could make an argument for it.
it's a lot of money.
And then going into this year, a new number 3. Well, so really kind of a little shakeup all the way around. There's a tie for first because the Mets now own the contract of one Justin Verlander.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right.
Verlander and Scherzer are both base salary at 43 1/3. So
Wow.
they've got 2 arms, $80 million over $80 million bumped into it
Just for those two guys.
for those two guys.
How long is Verlander's contract with him?
Verlander is a 2-year, third-year option, I believe. I'll verify that here in a second.
Player option, team option.
Yes.
Oh, it's a double option.
It might be a vesting option. So,
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then Aaron Judge signed his new contract. He's making $40 this year.
Jeez.
And then Rendon has been
Hate
bumped to
that guy.
fourth.
I don't think Judge will ever have a good season again.
I mean,
That's my
he'll-
take.
He'll have a good season. He won't have a record-breaking season again.
No, I think he won't even be the best right fielder ever again.
That's possible. I mean,
I don't think-
the right fielding group is so deep. Right field is such a good position right now in Major League
Right.
Baseball, which is funny because left field is not. Center field is very top-heavy. Right field is deep. Like, your 10 best right fielders are all legit ball players.
Right.
So it's very possible that he's never number one again.
I just don't know how Aaron Judge went back because he's Yankees, right?
He is a Yankee.
I don't know how he went back to Yankees after the entire stadium booed him.
Well, that's kind of comes with the territory of being a New York Yankee.
But like, if you're being mistreated like that by your own town's fans, like, go somewhere else, man.
I mean, he had the option.
That's
I
on
guess
him.
the money just spoke louder than the fans.
Grady, can y'all explain something? What is this shifting thing?
Oh, the shift.
Okay.
A good topic. Fantastic.
I will get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because we swerved. I just want to come back a little
I
bit
got
before
you.
the swerve. So looking at this year's money, this year's team contracts, because the reason I brought it up from last year to this year is because there's been a shift in how much money is being spent around the league. Right, the new CBA from last year has really kicked in, and now owners are kind of pumping some dollars.
Right. There's no ceiling at all.
So yeah.
The roof.
So last year I told you that the Mets were how much?
I know that they were second in total spending.
Okay,
220 million.
I think it was like 280.
Okay. Oh, 280.
The Mets are one at 330.
My gosh.
I thought they had reached 500
They've spent $500 million in guaranteed contracts
over the offseason.
over the offseason
Okay.
for the next foreseeable future. But their payroll for 2023 right now is at 330. The Yankees are the next closest team at 258.
My God.
Yeah, the Mets are really trying to buy a championship here. They're just,
So you're talking basically what 70 million, a 70 million jump.
that's two arms.
That's just two arms in your starting rotation. And then the Padres at 237, the Phillies at 224, the Dodgers are down to 205, which is only like they were number one
Right.
at like 230 last year, so they only went down like $20 million, but they went
one
from one
decent sized contract.
1 to 5.
Yeah.
4 teams have jumped
Wow.
them, and then out of nowhere, the team up I-45, the Texas Rangers,
Right. Yeah. All of a sudden, the Rangers decided, hey, we're going to spend a lot of money
On a guy.
The Blue Jays.
or DeGrom, right? Didn't DeGrom go to the Rangers?
DeGrom's a Ranger. So last year they spent money on Simeon and Seager.
Which did not pan out.
I think it still could, but it's the Simeon contract is better in my mind than the Seager contract. The Seager contract is kind of crazy. But yeah, they bring in DeGrom. They bring in 5 pitchers basically. Like they brought in our old friend Jake Odorizzi.
They did.
He's probably going to be their 6th guy, maybe a long relief, but he'll see some time in the rotation probably. You still have Martin Perez, who they signed to a 1-year, $18 million thing. John Gray's still there, and then they brought in Andrew Heaney. They brought in DeGrom.
Heaney was from the A's. Is that right?
Dodgers.
Dodgers? Really? It was California, though.
Yeah,
So-
and they brought in another arm too. They brought in like all of their pitchers are none of them are homegrown. They're all free agent or trades,
Right.
Which is crazy to me. The Astros are down to 11.
Yeah, it's crazy that we won the World Series as the number 10 spender.
We went out and got Jose Abreu.
Right.
Like that's a big signing,
And then we dropped a space.
and we're down. The league average is 140.
Well,
we're
we're
at
also
172.
We've also reached arbitration agreements with like 4 or 5 people
Yeah, so
this year.
that this is arbitration current as of today.
Right.
This doesn't have.
So even with us getting Abreu and paying guys more with arbitration, we're still dropping.
Right, and there's still like you don't have Kyle Tucker's contract on here yet because
Yet.
he hasn't had an agreement as of recording. And I think there's one more that we're still waiting on.
Jake Marisnick.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that the new highest total payroll as of today is $330 million compared to, what it was last year, and 4 teams are now above the Dodgers in spending is crazy to me. It's crazy. And then like the free agent tracker, the average value, you have Verlander signed 43 and a third average annual value. Aaron Judge, $40 million annual value. DeGrom, 37. Correa, 33. Trey Turner, 27. Carlos Rodon, 27.
It's ridiculous.
And like dudes are getting paid this offseason.
Can we talk about Correa for a minute? Because he was kind of getting on my nerves.
Sure.
I just.
What's up?
Just like I get like, all right, get your bag, like make your money. But also, like, dang, you did it in a very dramatic fashion.
I mean, Correa's a dramatic guy.
The most dramatic.
It's very on
Scott
theme.
Boras is a very dramatic guy.
Scott Boras is very dramatic, which is his agent. Scott Boras has a history of being the eccentric agent who's going to claw and inch for every cent, and he's going to terrorize you until he gets
Garrett
it.
Cole's agent.
Oh,
Garrett
okay.
Cole's agent. Yeah.
Okay.
So like when we lost World Series and Garrett Cole came out to his press conference, he had a Scott Boras hat on,
Instead of an Astros hat.
like instantly, like moments after the game.
Like the game's over, I don't play for you anymore.
That sucks.
Like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Chill out.
He was obviously mad because of some things that happened. But
Sure. But it like that one hurt me a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember watching that press conference going, oh my God, he's wearing Boras' hat. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
He's gone. It's just fine. We don't need him, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked out fine for us since. It'd still be nice to have that, 100-mile-an-hour arm still. But
basically, Boras is dramatic. Correa is dramatic.
Yeah.
it was a match made in heaven. Like it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because like his average annual on this new contract with the Twins is technically less than the average annual that he was making with the Astros offer
Right.
that he basically laughed. Well, he didn't laugh at, but basically Boras kind of laughed at.
Right.
And
Because
then
he thought he could get 10 years.
sure, and he goes to the Twins. He gets that 3-year with multiple opt-outs.
Right.
He crushes it. He does fantastic. Great year for Correa. Happy for him. He opts out like everyone knew he was going to. He made the Dior comment. If I go shop,
the Dior. Yeah.
I go to Dior and I want a product, I pay for it. So if you want my product, come pay for it. And it's like, like the
Chill, man.
total Carlos Correa move though. I'm like, you know what?
Right.
Like it's on brand. Like it totally fits.
But if I go to the store and I get a product and it's defective, I'm going to return
Right.
it.
Right.
Which
and then you get to this off season and like Trey Turner signs,
right.
Dansby Swanson signs.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other one? Who am I forgetting? Xander Bogaerts signs.
That's shortstop.
Bogaerts. And they're all massive deals.
Right.
They're all in the
You're running out of places to go.
They're all in the top 12. All the teams that are like were on the market for shortstop have all kind of like, well, yeah. I said all along I thought it was going to be the Giants. That was my dark horse back in like October. The Giants offer this crazy like 13-year deal.
Yeah.
Stupid deal. And I think the Giants got a little buyer's remorse because of that whole Aaron Judge thing.
Buyer's remorse. Yeah.
The arson Judge,
Yeah.
John Heyman thing. They lost Judge, and they're like, okay, throw money at the next highest guy. We got to bring
Right.
somebody
We got to
in.
make a splash.
And then they were like, oh, wait,
Some don't look right.
this is not what we wanted to do. And so they went and found a doctor basically that was going to fail Correa because of his bamboo ankle.
Right.
From a surgery back in 20.
He had an ankle injury
12.
from when he played for our AAA team. Oh, no, our AA team.
Double A team. It was Corpus. Ankle surgery. Never had a problem with his ankle since then. It's never been an issue. Every time he's missed time with Houston or anybody else, it was like the rib or the back.
Back, yeah.
Which is fine, but his back has been cleared. His ribs have been cleared. They failed him on his ankle, which crazy.
They think, they said it was going to be some degenerative thing 10 years from now where he can't play at the end of the contract or whatever.
And then the Mets, Steve Cohen, Uncle Stevie, swoops in at the midnight hour talking with Boras, and they offer a slightly less crazy contract. It was like a 11-year with like $40 million chopped off. The average annual is still well over 30. Huge deal. And then like 2 weeks goes by, and you're like, what's the deal with Correa?
What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
The Mets did their whole medical thing too. Like every time you pending physical, you see that on a contract offer. Like baseball, like contract physicals are not you go to the doctor and you have the 20-minute physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's you are in an MRI machine. You're having specialists check out all of your joints. They're feeling around in your knees. They're messing their ankles.
It's a big affair.
It's like a 10-hour
I mean, if you're investing, $400 million into somebody,
Yeah.
you're gonna figure out what's wrong with them.
pending physical, and it's like it is a thorough study of this person.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Mets bring in all their people, and guess who checks out Correa's ankle?
The same doctor.
Same
The
doctor?
same doctor.
On purpose?
No.
I think the Mets did it on purpose. Now I don't know this. This is all speculative, but it's kind of
Allegedly.
funny. It's kind of funny that the same doctor was involved, because again he
He's like,
fails the physical.
He's like, I did this, 3 weeks ago. I just give you the files from that.
And so, like, of course, the Mets aren't like he's not going to pass the physical because it's the same doctor. He's already made up his mind. Like the deal's now voided.
Right.
And so, like,
If the doctor would have changed his mind,
that would be
then
a-
what would have happened with
exactly
Giants?
that's a whole thing. And so,
he had
like,
to, yeah.
Correa's failed this
Oh
physical,
my gosh.
and then the freaking twins, who always wanted him, who were trying to keep him on an extension before he left, come back into the picture.
Hey man, we'll give you half.
And here's the thing. With all of this that takes place, he still signs a 6-year, $200 million contract with an average annual of over $33 million.
Right. And when he finishes,
with options at the end,
Right.
with the vesting options at the end, that could take it to $270 million for another 2 years or 3 years.
but when the first part of the contract runs out,
Yeah.
he will only be what?
He'll be 34.
34.
Because he's so young, because he came up at the time, and
He could still sign a third base contract.
he
at
could still sign a
34,
third base
like-
contract and still make more money off of it.
It's
So
crazy.
like it's really a great deal for the Twins because they get prime Correa, which is fantastic. One of the best shortstops, arguably maybe a premier the shortstop when he's right.
Right.
And you're not paying him at 40. You're
right.
not paying Aaron Judge $40 million when he's 41.
Right.
The Trey Turner deal, like Turner's
We stopped. No, we didn't stop. We're still going.
Trey Turner's going to be being paid a lot of money by the Phillies when he's a 40-year-old man. And,
Yeah.
One of Turner's greatest gifts is his
Speed.
speed. He's a
Which
speed
is going
guy.
to decline rapidly.
And so at what point does the speed factor start to lose its luster for Trey Turner?
Oh, probably this year.
And so,
That's nuts.
the fact that you're getting Correa potentially off the books at 34 before a heavy decline, you get him for his prime. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. So
What's wild to me is like, I don't know what y'all make. Like, I don't know what your salaries are, but like these guys are
I'm a
playing.
teacher, so.
well,
You're a
y'all-
teacher. Mine is literally published by the church. So
I work in ministry, so like, not making a lot of
mine
money.
is very easy to find online.
mine
But-
is also very easy to find online.
But like these guys are playing ball with each other, and like I know how much you're pulling. Like it's just
Yeah.
that's just such a
You
weird.
get to first base and you go, hey, man, how's that, $80 million going?
right,
That
right.
new contract, man, nice job. And I'm sure there's some cool banter that takes place on the base
I'm
pass.
sure.
I mean, a guy like Freddie Freeman, like he signs that great deal with the Dodgers last year. He's not chatting guys up, and like, yeah, man, it was crazy leaving Atlanta. Now I'm in Dodger land making $35 million. And
It's nuts.
All right, so real quick, let's touch on the shift, and then we have a special.
Yeah, a nice way to close today.
Yeah.
so the shift has been a thing in baseball where you move your fielders, predominantly your infielders, but it also takes place in the outfield some, not quite to the same degree it does in the infield. You have first, second, third base, right? Where sometimes your third baseman might play behind second base, or you'll move the shortstop to the other side of second base and play your second baseman deeper, because there's a heavy tendency for a batter to hit ground balls to this part of the field. You don't see it as much to right-handed batters as you do lefties. Lefty power hitters or lefty heavy sluggers are typically the guys that you see it happen with. because when they pull in front of a breaking ball that's away from them, they're going to pull it to the second baseman.
Right.
And so the shift has taken a lot of outs above average and made that like a major statistic, because a lot of guys hit balls into a 3-defender zone instead of a 2-defender zone.
So basically, the shift is bad for power hitting lefties because they're hitting the ball right at people instead of into the gaps.
So it's like an unfair disadvantage for lefties.
Well, it's not fair for the player, but it's fair in that every team can do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of not the spirit of how the game was designed. You know, like I'm kind of okay with the shift. I think, just bunt against the shift or, stop power hitting.
Slap the other way.
Right.
And some guys do that. Like, Anthony Rizzo is famous for being able to, like, oh, you're going to shift me? I'll bump it the other way. Or
Right.
There's plenty of guys that have made use of the shift and kind of combated it. But over a full year,
It's tough.
you're going to, like, Rizzo plays in Yankee Stadium where that short porch, he's trying to pull home runs there because that's how he's going to make money. Where if you pull and you get on top of the baseball, you're going to drive into the ground, you're going to get in the dirt, and it's going to go right to second base, shortstop that have moved to where you're hitting it.
To cover that.
And so now the shift ban, basically the way it is your 4 infielders have to have cleats in the dirt, so no more second baseman playing shallow right field.
Grass, yeah.
Right.
And you have to have 2 guys on one side of the bag and 2 guys on the other side of the bag. So there will no longer be when the pitch is thrown, 3 people on this side of second base.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset, I guess, is that it opens up more holes for batters to be able to put balls in play too, which balls in play typically equals to more exciting games. Mm-hmm. Unless you're seeing a Christian Javier no-hitter in the Bronx, like, strikeouts are cool, but when you're seeing grounders all day, the second baseman is like, ugh, okay.
You want to see some good action.
Now we get some base runners going, a few more people on base, things happen.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of the
So the
shift
shift
ban.
has been banned.
It's to hopefully get the game more engaging.
And
Gotcha. Makes sense.
I still think there's going to be ways that teams manipulate it because, like, the way that I've understood so far is that they can't start on that side of the bag, but once the pitch is thrown, you can move to that side of the bag. And so, like,
just gonna wind up out of position a lot.
And so, like, if I've got second base and I've got a power lefty, I'm still might put my second baseman at the very edge of
As
where he's
close as
allowed to
possible.
be.
Yeah.
And then my shortstop's going to be as close as he can be. And as the pitch is thrown, we're shuffling over, and I'm still creating a 3-man surface. Like, to what extent do those rules come into play?
Yeah.
So spring training is going to be interesting because I'm really interested to see how that's going to correlate, because I think there's going to be a lot of teams, especially like analytical-driven teams, aka Houston. I think there's going to be some games being played with the new rules.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
We don't even get to talk about the World Baseball Classic. We're out of time, but
That's fine.
there's too much.
All right. Yeah, my brain is full. All right. Well, we found these really random books, and
I was standing here and I was like, let's just read something off of this bookshelf. So I see a book and I grab it and I'm like, this must be like, we're in the church, right? And so I'm like, oh, this must be some,
In the
little
holy place.
devotional book or something.
please show them
It's
what
called-
what the book looks like.
It's called Hourglass. Right here, Hourglass.
The pink, like, calligraphy pen going on is...
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, that's strange. So I decided to read the front flap.
Front flap.
It says, Bianca will risk everything to be with Lucas. So after reading this front flap, I've discovered that this is a vampire romance novel that's just hanging out in
a
the
church.
church for some reason.
Which got us thinking
And what? It got us thinking about what?
about finding other ones.
Oh, I was like, what are we thinking about?
About vampires,
Because then
yeah.
we discovered some more books.
right? So Reid just started opening up the book and just reading random parts of it, and then we found these other books. And so we're just going to give each other page numbers and like what paragraph to read. And we're going to just have a little story time with you guys today. So if you're driving, I hope that this is entertaining for you. If this is, if you're watching on YouTube, I Are we gonna get copyrighted for this?
No.
We're not big enough for people to.
Nobody's
No.
watching. It's fine.
Okay, so
The only person who watches this is me, so.
we've got lots
Hey, I
of,
watch us too.
got a lot of
Okay.
subscribers. So, wow, Reid's book is a story all on its
It's
own.
a standalone, a different author.
Yeah, different author. Johnathan and I have books that are in the same trilogy. Yours is the first one, right?
Mm-hmm. I have the first one.
He's the first one. I have the second one.
We can't find the third one. We don't know if it's here.
The third one is actually called Gone, and it is gone.
It's
We
gone.
cannot find it. So
We are not endorsing these books, by the way. They're just here.
not at
No
all.
idea what Reid's about to.
We have no idea what's in here.
Yeah.
We don't
This
know
could be
what these
wild.
books are about at all. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna give
Sure.
Reid because I love that you have this vampire book. Go to page 48
Oh, that's early. Okay.
and do. Well, we need to build a foundation, you know.
Yeah.
And I want the first paragraph.
The first paragraph. Okay, it's only like 2 sentences.
We'll do that first and second one.
Okay.
then.
But some vampires didn't cause any trouble for humans. A lot of them, actually. They just wanted to be left alone. Lucas had learned that truth. I trusted him not to fight any vampire who didn't need to be fought. The rest of the people in this room believed that all vampires were pure evil and would kill them on sight. No questions asked.
I feel like you could do audiobooks, like legit. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's pretty good. All right.
Should I do the flap like Reid did?
The book
What's
flap.
going on in this book?
Just to.
Sure. Give us a synopsis of what
Oh.
our books are about. Maybe you shouldn't. That look you just gave.
How bad is it?
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm so excited.
Not all dreams are sweet. For 17-year-old Janie, getting sucked into other people's dreams is getting old, especially the following dreams.
Yes.
The naked but nobody notices dreams.
Whoa.
And the sex crazed dreams.
Oh.
Janie's seen enough fantasy booty to last a lifetime.
No! No! Why are these in our church?
Oh no. What's gonna happen?
So, Reid, what would be my page?
Yeah, let's go page 69.
oh no.
Just, let's go fourth paragraph.
All right.
You're gonna if there's something inappropriate, Jonathan, you're gonna have to skip over that.
Sure. Because that's what I'm known
I
for.
don't trust you at all.
You shouldn't. Cabell's back is to her. She has an urge to touch his hair. If she could reach him, she might. But then she shakes her head at herself. She's very confused over her feelings about him. It's more bizarre than flattering to know he dreams about her, especially when he does it after being that horrid monster man. She may even admit to being a little afraid of him. And now she knows where he lives, just 2 blocks from her, in a tiny house on Waverly Road.
Oh, this is about the Wizards of Waverly Place.
I was like holding
see
my
this?
breath. I didn't know what was gonna be said.
Is she just a normal person, or is this like?
She jumps in people's dreams, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, she gets sucked into people's dreams, and
What did it say about a monster man?
He was the
I guess.
monster
in the
man.
dream, maybe he was a monster man.
Yeah,
I'm very
Do you
intrigued now.
think
I'm
we
sorry.
know what's happening?
I figured y'all planted
You
these.
jumped me to page 69.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
All right, Jonathan, where am I going?
I think we're gonna go a little bit deeper.
Okay.
So maybe like how about 120?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And we're gonna go paragraph 2.
What are you doing? Cable says suddenly. Flirting with Durbin. Oh. He turns back to his pacing and then stops again. You know, I think I finally understand how it felt for you. Remember when you stopped by my house and Shay was over? Yeah. It burns like a cross in my brain. Is this also a vampire book?
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, are they vampires? I don't know. I gotta know.
my
Are they
gosh.
vampires?
Okay, let's keep
Look it
going.
up.
Let's let's keep going. Let's
Okay,
keep going.
keep going.
Let's do one more round.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This time I'll give Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, Reid. We're gonna go to page. How about let's go to 300? Is there a 300
No,
page?
I don't think this reaches 300.
This ain't that deep.
How-
Oh, it does reach 300.
Honk.
Okay. All right.
What's
And
the
we're
result?
going to go paragraph 4.
Okay. It's one sentence.
Paragraph 5.
I'm just going to read a couple of
Yeah,
lines
yeah.
here.
Yeah, okay.
Then Lucas shivered and his eyes narrowed. You feel that? He knows me. Lucas knows I'm here. Yes. Balthazar turned to search the room, and I hoped against hope that he'd catch a glimpse of me. But his gaze traveled past the spot where I felt myself to be. I think she's back. It's definitely Bianca, Lucas said after a pause. I agree. It feels like Bianca, and that perfume she used to wear sometimes, the stuff with the gardenias. Yeah, Lucas glanced over at Balthazar, obviously not thrilled that somebody else could recognize the scent I'd worn. But he seemed more relieved than angry. Maybe the most important thing for Lucas now was having someone who could convince him that the haunting was real and not evidence that he was going crazy.
There's always a Balthazar in any vampire thing.
All right. Our next
All right, let's go.
passage of Wake.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll give Johnathan his.
Got it.
Go to page 220.
222. 220. I don't have a 222.
Go to 202.
202.
And then,
Fantastic.
is there a third paragraph? Oh no, that face you just made.
There is a third paragraph.
Is it appropriate?
I don't know. It's long.
Oh, let's go. Story time.
I read like a whole page.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir. We arrived at the party at 19:10 hours. Marijuana already in progress.
Right.
And by 23:30, the Coke was on the glass. 5 minors and several adults snorted lines.
Wow. Is that real? Are you making this up?
Mr. Wilder took me aside and we discussed our partnership, but being rather pleased at the turnout. He was semi-coherent but stoned, and he told me he had a stash he was ready to, quote, put on the market. His words, not mine. Apparently that was enough for Baker and Cobb, though. I'm pissed we don't have the actual location of the stash. They arrived within 3 minutes and broke the place up, taking only those who were too stupid to go peacefully. And, of course, Mr. Wilder and his 2 children. Mrs. Wilder wasn't present, and I really don't think she's mixed up in it. He glances sideways at Janie and shrugs an apology. Carrie was really toasted and put up a huge fight. Sorry about that.
Did like a 15-year-old write this book?
I don't know. What's their Lisa McMahon, I think.
Lisa McMahon, 2 N's. What is happening? Oh God.
She's got her own website.
Marijuana and Coke.
Oh, she's born in 68.
Nope.
So
Sister, come on.
I gotta look up this vampire writer though. But
what am I
so
reading?
I want you to read the very beginning, page 1, paragraph 1. Just
Okay.
how does it start? It's got to
Okay.
be good, right?
I would, dear God, I really don't think so.
Define good.
Oh, Claudia.
Define good.
Claudia is also 52. That's the author of Hourglass.
Oh Lord.
That fits.
It looks, yeah.
All right. Remember, this is the second book in
She
this
wrote
trilogy.
a Star Wars book? Star Wars: The Lost Stars.
Well, and there's a Leia book too.
She wrote several. She wrote a lot of Star Wars books. Oh, interesting.
Tells me a lot about her. All right.
Wait. Okay.
What does that mean?
The beginning of
January
Fade.
1st, 2006, 1:31 a.m. Janie sprints through the snowy yards from 2 streets away and slips quietly through the front door of her house. And then everything goes black. She grips her head, cursing her mother under her breath as the whirling kaleidoscope of colors build and throws her off balance. She bumps against the wall, holds on, and then slowly lowers herself blindly to the floor as her fingers go numb. The last thing she needs is to crack her head open again.
I have no idea what's going on. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so you never know what you're gonna find just when you rummage around in the church.
These books are so bad.
We got to remove them. They shouldn't be here.
Well, there's your books to think about today, everybody. Hope that helped. Started your day off well. Or ended it. Whatever. Goodbye.